Hello, everybody. My name is Simon Wukits. I'm a senior sales engineer for the MSP program here at Sophos, and today we're going to have an overview over the Sophos Central Partner Dashboard. And to give you all an idea of what we're going to be talking about today, first off, we're going to id.sophos.com in order to show you all the login process and how easy it is to add users through the partner portal. Then we're going to have an overview over the partner dashboard itself, how to create a new monthly customer, how to change licenses for a monthly account, how firewalls and MSP or monthly billing is working. Then we're going to have a look at settings and integrations. And then to top it all off, we're going to have a look at the MDR sections within of the central partner dashboard. So the first thing that we want to do here is going to id.sophos.com. And when going to id.sophos.com, you're going to be presented with a login mask. And in order to successfully log in here, partners will need to use either their Sophos Central Partner Dashboard ID or Partner Portal ID, which I'm going to do in my case here now. Upon a successful login, we're going to see all of the application and links my user now has access to. In my case, that is my Sophos partner dashboard, the Sophos community, the partner portal, support portal, as well as user voice. And in order for us now to create a new user, we want to navigate to the partner portal. Now that we are in the partner portal, the first thing that we want to do in order to create a new user is to navigate to the little gear wheel icon here in the top right corner and navigate down there to manage users. This will open a list of all users who not only have access to the Sophos Partner Portal, but also access to the Central Partner Dashboard. And that is indicated here on the right, on the furthest right column called Central Partner Access. Once that permission has been set, and I'm going to show you that in the adding process, how to do that, but once that permission is being set, it's going to send out an email to that email that has been given at the adding process in order for the user to set up their Sophos Central Partner Dashboard password as well as MFA tokens. However, there are a couple of more things I want to point out here. First of all is the role. You can choose upon account creation whether that user is going to be a manager or a user. You're going to define the portal access type, whether that's going to have full access to the partner portal or only access to content and education. And we do have the portal admin role, which is indicating if a user can add users in the partner portal as well. Then we do have central partner admin, which is a unique role, which is only being given once. So only one user can that be at the time. And usually it's being given at the account creation, but it can be changed later on. Then we do have the MDF requester role, which is indicating which user has access to the MDF funds, if there are any partner notification settings, and then the aforementioned central partner access. And in order to add a new user through to the partner portal and giving them initial access to the central partner dashboard, you're going to click on Add User. This is bringing us to a classic user creation mask where we're going to provide some information like first name and last name, optional salutation and job title, email addresses, phone numbers, languages, and locales. Language and locale don't need to be synonymous, they can be different. Then we do have the user address down here, which we need to provide in order for the user to be created. And then we go into the user access and roles. And there you can see all of the check marks that we've seen before, whether or not it's going to be a manager or a user, whether or not it's going to be a portal admin, what the portal access type is, and then we do have the central partner access. And for a user to gain initial access to the central partner dashboard, as explained before, that needs to be set to yes in order for the email to go out. This is not synonymous with the rule set and the access types and access role for the user in and of itself. We're going to do that once we are in the central partner dashboard. So once we have created the user here, we want to go back to id.sophos.com. Now that we are back at id.sophos.com, we want to now click on Partner Dashboard to access the central partner dashboard. And it's going to request my MFA token, which is mandatory for a user to log in. Now that we are in the Sofa Central Partner dashboard, the first thing that we want to do is now navigating to the user section and assign the appropriate roles and access conditions for the users that we've just created. And there's two ways how we can do that. The first option is to click down here on Configure and click on Settings and Policies, or we click the little gear wheel icon here, which is bringing us to the general settings or settings and policy section. The next thing that we want to do, because we want to view and manage all the users with administrative access to this account, in order to pick out a user and and amend their user access roles, because per default, these users are being created as a partner read-only with no access to any customers and no ability to change anything in the system. And what we now want to do is pick up a user that we've created. In my case, that's going to be Amir Ahmed, because we can see here it's a partner read-only. So I can assume that's the user I've created. And the first thing that we see here is that first name, last name, and email address are being grayed out. So we cannot change that from here. We can only change that in the partner portal. And then we're going to see a role which we can change. So per default, again, new users are being assigned the partner read-only role, so they cannot add, amend, or change anything in the system or delete anything, but we can assign them new roles. And they can be either one of the 5 predefined roles by Sophos in the central partner dashboard or custom roles. To give you some more information about these roles, let me click on more information. This is now opening a new tab, which is giving us a new view of the roles that are present in the central partner dashboard. Per default, again, partner read only, but we have the possibility now to assign that user now, for example, to partner admin, which is giving them access to all features within of the Sofa Central Partner dashboard. However, this role can only access its designated customers. Super admin is having access to everything within of Sofa Central, as well as access to any customer. Help desk allows the admin to take limited administrative actions from within the central partner dashboard and Sofa Central admin, which is also a word for the Sophos customer tenants. We do have a business admin, which is a predefined role that only has access to licensing in Sofa Central Partner. And then we do have a couple of custom roles. So if we're not happy with the predefined roles by Sophos, we can also do custom tailored custom roles. So let's go back to admins and let's go back to a user, Amir Ahmed. In order now to show you how the assignment process works, assuming that the user is not a super admin, we can either select of all of the partner dashboards associated customer accounts with the user or any selection of them. However, we can also put these customers into specific groups and giving technical personnel as well as admin personnel or anyone who's using the central partner dashboard only access to these customer tenants in any way, shape, or form. So we can see here, this user as a read-only has only read-only access to the customer example tenant. If I want to now change that, let's just assume I would give him the partner admin role and I want to have him access to the whole MSP team group, so I can deselect that here. It will get access to all of the MSP team customers. So Mama Gourmet, the MSP CSP demo account, Cal Telecoms, and everything that we see here in that list. Now, if we would add any new customers to that specific groups, we wouldn't need to go back to change the access conditions because it's part of the group. That user has now access to that group and can therefore administer them as well. So in order now to have a little dashboard overview, let's go back to the dashboard. To give you all an idea about the dashboard section, we're going to start at the actual dashboard screen in and of itself, and we're going to go from top to bottom. The first thing that is standing out is the alerts section, which is splitting itself into high alerts, medium alerts, info alerts, and any PSA sync alerts. These PSA sync alerts are resulting from any potential ConnectWise or Autotask integration that you have set up within of Sofa Central. I'm going to show you a little bit later how that can look. The next thing that we have below that is the usage for my monthly customers, which is showing me all of the licenses in use for my monthly customers. In our case, you can see that at the bottom here, we have 28 monthly customers associated with our partner dashboard. And we can see how many licenses they use for specific products. However, on the dashboard in and of itself, this is the only section that has anything to do with monthly billing or MSP business, because what we see below here, Sophos Central and Sophos Central Firewalls, that is for termed business only. And it will show us how many trials do we have, how many licenses are over limit in terms of user allocation, how many licenses are expired and are due for renewal, as well as licenses that are near expiration within of a 3 month radius. That same would go for Sophos Firewalls. That's also only for termed business. However, in this account, we do not have any termed firewalls assigned, so we only have the little icons that we see here. Now, the next thing I want to show you is the alert section. And there are 3 ways where we can access these alerts from here. Either we can click directly on any of the sections here, so high alerts, medium alerts, info alerts, or PSA sync alerts, which will then takes us to the alert section with a filter already pre-applied. We can go on view all alerts here on the little hyperlink, or we can go to the Mega Nav bar on top and just click on alerts, which is taking us to the same section. Now that we are in the alert section, we'll see a very good consolidated view of all of the alerts which are associated with the customer accounts within our Sophos Central Partner dashboard. To explain you what we're seeing here, let me start with a little checkbox here first. If we do check that, it's giving us a little action bar here where we can clear the alert from here directly. The next thing that we see to the right is the alert severity. Red means high or critical. Medium is yellow, and gray is informal alerts. Just to give you an idea and just to help you in order to properly sort these alerts and action them based on the criticality. The next thing that we see when this alert has been created or when this alert has been popped up in the system, next thing that we see is a description of what is actually happening. And then we would see a device if the device would be if the alert would be device specific. If the device does not have a name associated to it, like a firewall, for example, it would show us the serial number of the firewall. However, since we're working with names here and we can actually define these alerts and know where these firewalls would be. When it comes to endpoints, we can see here Windows 11 June 23. We would get a host name of that specific machine, how it is registered at the central partner central admin. Then we would get an alert category to help us define where or what this problem could actually be. And then we do have a product family, what is happening here. The last thing that we see here on the right is the account where that alert is coming from. And we could launch directly from here into these customer tenants. So what we're now seeing here on screen is the customer tenant I just launched into. It's giving me an overview of all of the alerts that are associated with that specific account, giving me a health check summary for endpoints and so on. The purpose of that is to show you how easy it is to access the right resources straight away from one window with one click, rather than you complicate or rather than you getting into different links and need to click different things in order to get here. We want to make that as easy for you as possible. So let's go back to the central partner dashboard. One last thing about the alerts that I want to show you here is that we can extend this little window with the little arrow here, which is giving us again the description, potentially in a better readable format. We can clear the alert directly from here, and we can also change the email alert frequency if we so want to. So the next thing I want to go in detail here is the log section. And it's actually pretty simple to comprehend because we only offer one log within the central partner dashboard, which is the audit log, in order to record all activities and changes that are made to the system in the partner central dashboard and any associated customer tenant below that. If I would click now on audit log, it would give me an overview over the last 90 days because that is the standard data retention period for the audit logs, which is then showing me every event with a timestamp, event location, who has who has driven the modification, what item type it is, or item type in that case means partner access to that specific tenant, if we have changed anything in that, and then giving us a quick description in order to show us what has actually happened here, as well as an IP address, a resource owner ID, and if it happened in the partner tenant or in the customer tenant. So much for audit logs. The next thing I want to go in here is the customer section. And I think this will be the single most important section for any admin in here. This screen is giving us a consolidated view of all of our customer tenants that are associated with our partner dashboard. And by default, we do have a filter applied of customers that have been active in the last 30 days. So usually that would be all of your customers. However, if you do have customers which are laying dormant or not using Sophos products at the moment for monthly billing, they wouldn't be showing here. However, we can remedy that and either show all of the active customers in the last 60 days, 90 days, or all customers in and of itself. Then we do have some more filter options if we only want to show the managed customers, so customers that we can actually access through the partner dashboard, or unmanaged customers which would need to enable partner assistance for us in order to do anything in the central tenant for them. So again, here we do have the option directly to launch into their tenant, and how to do that is that we do just select one of the accounts here and then click on Launch Customer. You can see which tenant you have selected by the light blue underlay. The next thing I want to go or I want to show you is the Customer Details button. If we would do that, it would show us a consolidated information sheet about the company name, how the name is being shown in Sophos Central, where the data storage location is, what the address is, and who the point of contact is. And from here, we can also assign these customers into specific groups. So ANZ Cam 1, for example, is part of the MSP team, MSP test, SOC Team 1 customers, and SOC Team 2 customers. That means anyone who has now access to these groups, so any user, which we have discussed with Amir Ahmed before. If Amir Ahmed now would have access to the MSP team, he would have access to the ANZ Cam 1 tenant as well. Last, down there at the bottom, we see how many licenses are in use by that customer. So we see it's one central firewall reporting advanced license is in use, Intercept X Advanced with XDR, 6 of them are in use, and we also see Cloud Optics, but the usage is 0. That means that this partner or that this customer has used Cloud Optics before, but they are not currently using it, hence it's there, but the usage is being set to 0. So let's go back to the customer overview, because the next thing now I want to talk about is the Update Billing button. And this is a very important and a very helpful button or tool, because now we do give partners the opportunity to convert accounts themselves. So how this is working, let's just assume the scenario, you do have a termed customer which licenses are coming to a close and they want to extend, work the cooperation with you as a partner and want to move on to the monthly billing. How to do that, how to convert that account, you would basically just select that account, then highlight it by the blue undertone, click on Update Billing, and then you would get the information that if you convert this account, any remaining termed license runtime will be forfeit, and you can then select the products which the customer is using. We do recommend that you only select the products that the customers will actually use. However, if you select all of them and customers don't use them, they won't be billed for that. The next thing is the Create Monthly Account button, which I will go into detail in just a second. Next two buttons that we do have there are Unlink from Partner and Delete Schedule Unlink. Unlink from Partner means that you can now unlink a customer tenant from your central partner dashboard. That can be helpful in a scenario where you and a partner or where you and a customer decided not to conduct any further business with each other, so you can get them out of your central partner dashboard in order to only have the customers in there that you actually work with. And delete scheduled uplink means that if you have created an unlink and if it's before the first of the following month, and if there's any change to the situation there and you need to delete that unlink, you can do that via the delete scheduled unlink by highlighting that account again, and then just click on delete scheduled uplink and then confirm the change. All right. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is the creation of a new monthly account. And this is actually pretty simple. We just click here in the customer section on create monthly account, which is now bringing us to a little mask where we can put in some customer information like the company name, address, and I'm going to quickly pre-populate that. So now everything is being pre-populated. So the mandatory fields here is the MSP or the customer's company name, the address, the city, the state and province, the postal code, the country, the primary contact, and in terms of the email, there's a best practice that I would like to share with you. So what we're usually doing when we're creating a monthly dashboard from the central partner dashboard side is to use our own partner credentials with a little MSP or with a little appendix or alias in order to know where that email address is coming from in order to give you ease of use. The next thing that we can do optionally is enable a sample submission. However, in the interest of security, we always recommend to have that enabled. And then the data storage location, which we do have a couple across the world. So in the US West, in the US East, Germany, Australia, Brazil, and many more. The closest one to the United Kingdom, which is the country I've selected, the data storage location would be Ireland, because we don't have anything specific in the United Kingdom. So I'm taking the closest to me. If I would now click on next, it would take me to the product section. And that's where we can select the initial licenses that the customers are using. So for mobile, we either choose Mobile Advanced, Standard, or Intercept X for mobile. However, again, with monthly billing, you won't be billed if you don't use it. Next thing is endpoint and server. Let's just assume we want to have Intercept X Advanced with XDR for endpoint and server. We don't have any legacy Windows operating systems in there, like Windows 7 or Windows Server 2012. We don't want the increased data retention period of 365 days. And data encryption is mandatory to have it in there, but again, if you don't use it, you won't pay for it. Then Cloud Optics, I wouldn't use Cloud Optics in that case. Central Firewall Reporting, if I plan to have firewalls attached to Central, yes. Email Advanced, same thing with device encryption. If we want to have fish threat, ZTNA, switches and wireless 6. And then I do understand the terms. And then if I would click now on create monthly customer, it would create that monthly customer in the tenant, and we could start working it from there and setting everything up. All right. Now let's go to the MSP licensing section and how you would change licenses in the MSP section. So the first thing that we want to do is, again, navigate to customers and go to managed customer usage. Just for your information here, licenses, and trial licenses is for term business only. Do not concern us in the scope of this video. Let's go to manage customer usage. Now, let's show how easy the licensing change actually is. And for that, I'm going to pick one of the accounts here. Let's say I take Buns Cottage Technologies because that is one of my demo accounts. And then I basically click on change licenses. So it will now give me an overview of all of the products that can be currently licensed via managed customer usage. You will probably notice that the firewall, apart from central firewall reporting here, is absent, and that is because it is licensed in a separate place. So what I will do now is I deselect everything I do not want to change in terms of licensing. So I will pick up everything here. So I do now want to change licenses for endpoint and server, email, ZTNA, fish threat, switches, as well as wireless. So let's go straight into. For endpoint, I just want to simply pick Intercept X Advanced with XDR. So any already deployed endpoints then will upgrade their license automatically, so there's no manual doing necessary. And then I do have the optional selections for the automatic install of the new software on all endpoints, extended support for legacy Windows operating systems like Windows 7 or Windows Server 2012, for example, and the optional data retention increasing to 365 days. I don't need anything of that except for the automatic install. And I click on next. For email, I just want to have email advanced. In my security licenses, I don't need the central portal encryption add-on. Then I do want ZTNA. I do want fish threat. I do want support for switches and wireless And then I am in the confirm license change. So if I would now click on save, It will automatically update all of the licensing in the backend, and you as an MSP can only then go ahead in the customer tenant and configure these products accordingly. So let's click on save. And that is how we change licenses on an MSP level. If you now, at some point in the relationship with the customer, need to go ahead and change some licenses there, either upgrade or downgrade. Let's say, for example, in the Intercept X, I want to upgrade from Intercept X Advanced with XDR to MDR Essentials or MDR Complete. You just quickly come back to that process and just do that from here. You can do that on the go. With term business, you would need to sign an amend and extend in order to upgrade these licenses. For MSP. That is not necessary because you can seamlessly scale these licenses. Now, the next thing that we want to look at is Sophos Central firewalls from the partner dashboard. Now that we have successfully changed the licensing for an active MSP or monthly account, the next thing that we want to have a look at quickly is firewalls. Firewalls, as a part to everything that we've seen before, is licensed separately from any other product within of Sophos Central when it comes to monthly billing. And in order to access that, we go to My Business, Firewalls, and start with Firewall Licensing and Billing. The first thing that we see here again is a consolidated list of all of our firewalls that are available for flex billing. And let's start again from left to right. First thing that we see is the customer that these are assigned to, any optional description, the serial number, who are they owned by, the model, the status of the base license, whether it's purchased, an evaluation licensed, or a monthly license, any ongoing subscriptions here. For this case, for example, here the first one, extreme protection is on that. It's going to, if you were going to hover over it, it's going to give us some more information, whether or not it is active and the expiration date. If it would be termed, as we see here for the network sensor for the Camille Caballes International virtual firewall, it would give us an idea about the network sensor as well as the earliest expiration date. So in that case, it has already expired, and the hardware. And if it's a hardware firewall, the warranty expiration. So, and now in order to assign a customer or to assign a firewall to a customer and also give it a subscription license, let me go quickly search for one specific I have in mind, and I see here Simon Wukits with the description Proxmox Firewall Simon, and giving me again the serial number. If I would now click on that serial number, it would give me now the type. It is a monthly firewall. I cannot change that because I have requested a virtual firewall as a service directly from Central. I'll show you in a second how to do that. The next thing is I can assign it to a customer. So if I would delete myself now out here and just say I want to give it to Buns Cottage Technologies, for example, then it would be assigned to that technology. Bear in mind, this has nothing to do with where the firewall is being administered via Central. This is for billing purposes only. And next thing is the virtual firewall size, which is then allocating the virtual licenses in and of itself. If you would have a hardware firewall, you wouldn't need to worry about this because that field is absent in there. If it is a virtual firewall, I can assign it different cores and different RAM mappings. In my case, 2 core and 4 gigs of RAM will suffice, and then the subscription. As opposed to term firewalls, we do not have any a la carte subscription models. We only have those 3: standard protection, extreme protection, and extreme protection with WAF and email. In my case, I only need the extreme protection bundle, and then I'll also, if it's a virtual firewall requested from the central partner dashboard, you would get the delete firewall button. But if I'm happy with all of the changes that I made, I would basically just click on save. And if the firewall is online, it would now sync its subscription settings to the extreme protection bundle. And off we go. The next thing that I want to quickly show here is to request a virtual firewall, which we are calling virtual firewall as a service, because you request a licensing key directly from us. So you give the new firewall a name, let's call it Simon Test. You can optionally assign it directly to a customer. Let's say I want to assign it to Buns Cottage Technologies. I want to give that a size, so 2 cores and 4 gigabytes for the use that I'm doing, and then give it a protection bundle straight away or subscription. Standard protection will suffice here. If I would now click on save, it would create a licensing key, which I can apply to the firewall upon install or setup. Now that we all know how to change firewall billing on MSP, let's go quickly to the next step with firewall licenses, because this is important when a firewall is being set up for the first time. The first thing that an MSP wants to do, because they usually own the firewall, is claim the firewall serial number. So that can be done either during the firewall setup or even in advance, especially with a hardware firewall. In order to do that, that's pretty simple. You just click on Claim Firewall, give the serial number here. If the serial number already has been claimed once, um, it will give you the error message there. And the next thing that you would need then to do is to find out where, if the customer already has claimed the firewall beforehand, or if a previous partner has been doing that. If a customer that is already associated with your central customer account has done that already, that would be pretty simple, because that field or that page looks exactly the same in the customer tenant, and you would just locate the firewall, you would select that here and transfer the firewall, and then you would give up, or that then you would put in either some collective credentials here, like an info@company.com, or your personal partner credentials, which you are using to log on to Sophos Central in order to get that moved into the central partner dashboard. All right. The next thing I want to show you is the settings and policy section here. And again, we do have two options to go here or to come here to. First one is either to configure and click on settings and policies, or again, the little gear wheel icon. This time I'm going to click on settings and policies, which is taking us to the known screen when we have been moving to adjust user roles. So the next thing, if we're going from top to bottom here, is the login settings. This section is important because it gives you as the user the possibility here to either add or change or delete your MFA tokens, as well as setting up your backup PIN in terms of disaster recovery. The next thing that we do have here is configure email alerts. Treat that with caution, because it is a sort of all or nothing setting, because it enables email alerts for all of your associated accounts. Next thing is the MDR preferences there, or managed detection and response preferences, which I will go over when we're looking at the MDR section. There's also sign-in settings, where you can manage signing settings for all of the central accounts and applications. You can verify domain, which are used by Sophos products, and also create the central federated sign-on with, for example, Entra ID or Google Workspaces. You can put in the federated identity providers in here to do that. You can administer MFA in order to reset multi-factor authentication for this partner's account identities. Next thing that we do have are the global customer settings, where we do provide options for co-branding, global templates, as well as firewall templates for your customers. And the next thing we do have is the API credentials management, where you can create and manage API credentials and service principal roles. And we do have some good starter guides on APIs that are developers.sophos.com if you want to get started with that. Next thing here, and I want to go in a little bit into more detail on that, is the PSA integrations. As mentioned before, we natively connect with ConnectWise as well as Autotask. So if you're an MSP partner who's using either of that, you can connect your central account to either ConnectWise or Autotask in just a few minutes in order to automate your workflows from there. However, we do also support, with a general install script, multiple RMM or PSA tool connections. If you want to know more about that, I will add a link in the description below where you can find that in the Sophos community and how to set it up. What you can also do from here is you can export all of your customer usage data into a CSV file by clicking that link down here, and then upload it into your accounting software if you need to do that. Now let's go back to the general settings here again, because you can also now configure API alerts. So you can view and manage API-based alerts for PSA ticket integrations. That's also the point where you can then see the PSA sync alerts in the dashboard section or in the alert section. To round it now all up, the next thing I want to show you, or the last thing I want to show you, is the MDR section, because it has been the fastest growing service we offer at Sophos there, and we are the world's most successful provider of MDR services that is out there. And of course, we want to give partners the opportunity to see what's going on with their customers who are using MDR. In order to navigate to that, we want to go to My Products, click on MDR, and just click on it. We can be a little bit more specific if we already know the section that we want to, but the first thing that we see here is the cases. You would see any potential ongoing case for any of your customer tenants or associated customers that is using MDR in here. And you can either intervene, you can use it for them, and you can act on their behalf if needs be, and if the customer has permitted that. The next thing that we can see here is a little filter if you want to have if all escalated cases, for example, where you can see, okay, we see the ID, the customer name or the customer tenant name, where it's associated to, what the status is, when that has happened, when it has been last updated, the severity, any description, and a synopsis. We can also do that for any last 24 hours, last 7 days, last 30 days, or any ongoing cases that require actioning, which in our case is none. The next thing that we can access here is a report. For partners, that is only a monthly report who's giving you information of all of what's happened with MDR for all of your customers. However, you also can access customer reports. So you can see exactly the account that they're associated with, and you can also see the duration, because for customers, we also do release weekly reports. But you as a managing partner should also see them in order to position yourself better and provide more value to customers. Next thing that we see is the notification settings, where we going to be either we can do either we can have that for all accounts or just one account. Let's just pick the MSP CSP demo, where we can only select all. However, we can change that globally and so on. Next thing is settings, which is the response or the contact settings there. So per default, if a customer decides to go for MDR, they're going to inherit the partner settings. However, you can override these settings. But let's just assume you want to have all of the authorized contacts for your customers there, because you want to take all of that work away from them. Then you basically just give in here your 3 accounts, which we are trying to call in terms of an active incident. Then if we go to threat response, we can see the mode which we're working in. We do have collaborate, where we do work with your contacts, so we're trying to reach out to you before we can action anything. However, if we do not reach your contacts, it is highly recommended to tick the little checkbox here in order for us to acknowledge and can investigate any threat or any threats and respond to them, even if we don't reach you. Or you can just fully authorize us for the let go, and to also enable live response updates for all of your customers. And then you can customize the preferences there, where you do see all accounts which currently have MDR enabled, where you can either use your partner global settings or set the preferences from your partner level, or if the customer wants to do that themselves, we can use set preferences from customer level, and then we need to configure the context in the customer tenant. And with that, I thank everyone for their time today, for joining me to have a little overview over the partner dashboard. If you do have any further questions there, please reach out to your sales representatives, and let's start working together soon. Bye.